Hello, this is the Nightmare Man, and, I guess you could say I'm starting a new little project sort of thing, or videos. I'm doing new videos. This time, I'm kind of, doing a speed paint, or at least I'm attempting to. I can't say I've ever done one before, so that's gonna be interesting, but before I start telling the story of this character that's on screen, I'm going to tell you what this whole thing's about. It's probably not obvious unless you go to like one of my several art things, mostly my Twitter. If you go to my Twitter or DA, you'd see that I am a really big fan of Dungeons and Dragons. I've been playing for a little over a year now, like a year and a few months, and while we usually don't use 5e to play, and I'm usually forever DM, I have played a little bit of 5e. I'm currently in a 5e game, where I'm playing a wild magic sorcerer, who is a, an Asmodeus tiefling, vanilla tiefling, and once I have her at like 4 levels of sorcerer, I'm going to go into bard, because she also plays guitar. That's a whole nother matter. That's not what this one's about. But what I did do for this is I set up a Google Doc sort of thing, and what I did was I basically set up a bunch of categories where I would roll, and basically it's a random roll table, and whatever I end up rolling is what I draw. And the first thing that I roll for is the character's gender. I have male, female, and androgynous, or miscellaneous, whichever one you'd like to call the third option. Obviously for this one, I rolled female. But I'll get into the actual character we're doing in a second. Then races. I have 26 options for what races I could have pulled together, even ones that I'm not big fans of. The race list goes: human, elf, dwarf, dragonborn, tiefling, half-orc, orc, goblin, kobold, gnome, halfling, Aasimar, Aarakocra, warforged, genasi, kenku, changeling, myconid, triton, satyr, tabaxi, goliath, half-elf, furbolg, turtle, and then gith. Some of these would be really hard for me to draw, especially the draconic ones, but, I'm willing to try. And then I even have little sub-races I could roll. Say, if I rolled an elf, I'd roll a sub-race, or a dragonborn, I'd roll a color, and so on and so on. Then I would roll for their class. I have 14 classes here, which is the main 12 classes D&D, plus Artificer and Mystic, because I figured get them all. And then I'd roll for a subclass, which is... that's really it. Oh, almost forgot. The last thing that I would roll for was the character's alignment, because that can definitely change how you draw something, if they're evil or not. Whether it be pose, facial expression, or even clothes are sometimes affected by that. But I guess now I'll start describing what I rolled for this specific character. Gilda Turnmeier. Well, first off, like I said, I rolled a female, and then I rolled a 5, which is tiefling. And so I went down to the tiefling subraces list and rolled, and this time I got one that I haven't heard of most of these, but I forgot that this one was an archel. Glacia, which that was fun finding out the difference. Then I rolled the class, and Gilda here is a wizard. And I decided and I rolled to see what school of magic they'd be. Now, I did include ones that aren't standard, like I have 12 here. The first few being things like blade singing, and then the things from like wild mount, or like chronourgy and graviturgy, because I figured that could be cool. And war magic. I don't know. I didn't know what blade singing was for a while. Still don't know what it is, but. Yeah, Gilda here is a female tiefling lawful neutral divination wizard. So that's the flat description of her. For all these characters, I am going to be writing stories and telling them. So I'll get right into Gilda's. Gilda Turnmeier was born to the Yastir family, specifically to Gilmar and Brava Yastir, in the rather diverse city of Ravenor. It's not diverse in the common term, it's more diverse in wealth. The wealthiest of the citizens live high up in the castles and manors, while a good portion of the citizens unfortunately live in poverty. When Gilda was around the age of 2, the city of Ravenor was struck by a plague of unknown origin. It was mostly affecting, well, the poorer and more poverty-stricken citizens because, well, they didn't have the money for medical aid or protected houses. Fortunately, or rather unfortunately for her family, Gilda was born with some latent or innate talent for magic. No real magic power in of itself, but her being was very open to learning it, which is what attracted the court wizard, who sensed this and offered her, the Yastir family, a deal they, at the time, really couldn't refuse. The court wizard offered to take Gilda and raise her in the castle and teach her the ways of magic, keeping her safe from the plague and giving her a strong start in life. Well, as far as Gilda knows. While it... I'm sorry if you heard that. While it hurt them deeply, they knew that this would be Gilda's best choice, so that... her best chance, so that Yastir family, they decided to let Gilda be taken. From then on, Gilda was raised and taught by Framor Turnmeier in the art of magic. Framor was a cold old man who had been in the position of court mage or wizard for far too long by most people's standards, but he refuses to retire anytime soon. At first, Turnmeier wanted Gilda to become a talented evocationist like himself, but when he realized she was much more adept at learning divination, she was definitely going to be hard to teach. So, Turnmeier just decided if it's what she's good at, she can learn it. Because this was her only parental figure that she could remember, and she was raised in a secluded castle, Gilda's social skills atrophied somewhat. And really the only other friends she had were the noble's children that were also raised in the castle. One specific noble child in particular was her best friend. Matilda Raven was the youngest of the noble family and the same age as Gilda. And in their time in the castle, they were all but officially raised together, Gilda being sent off to magic a lot of the time. Soon, Gilda would be pleased to find that Matilda was also coming to her magic lessons. This was when they both were around the age of 17, though Matilda's joy in her best friend joining her soon faded, because she learned that Matilda wasn't coming to her magic lessons of, well, curiosity or her own free volition. She was attending these magic classes because she had been strict with wild magic, and it was far too powerful for her to control without training. This wild magic was much stronger than even Fromore had ever seen, and it was starting to very, very badly affect Matilda's health. Soon, Matilda was not able to stand. She was bedridden. This was around the age of 22, so she lasted a whole 5 years with this coursing in her before she let it take effect. The knowledge that Matilda was this in pain and hurt horrified Gilda, and she immediately asked, she demanded Fromore tell her how to fix it, and of course she knew he wouldn't have an answer. The best Fromore could tell her was that the wish spell was the only thing that could heal her, and the realization that at the moment at least she was unable to help her best friend, that struck Gilda like a warhammer to the head. For the past 5 years, the best she was able to do was try and keep Matilda's spirits up and help her in her lessons, but she'd had enough. She wasn't going to stand by anymore. When she just made this decision, she packed up all her things and began setting out to find some way to either cast this wish spell or just cure her in any other way. Fromore was going to try and stop her, but she was far too rambunctious, and he saw the look in her eye and knew he wouldn't be able to. So currently, Gilda is wandering around the countryside, or the world even, if she has to find someone or something that can either cast the wish spell or cure Matilda of her wild magic. And there's not much she won't do. She has a code of ethics, but she really, really wants to help her friend. And there we have it. That is the first of these, I guess, randomly rolled characters. Gilda Turnmeier. I will note that the stats that are in the art were indeed, rolled up, which, I think is fitting, for her to have a 9 in charisma. That wasn't planned until I know, her social skills being atrophied weren't planned until I rolled that for her. But this is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this. But for now, this has been the Nightmare Man, and we'll see how this series goes. Have a nice day.